offensive operations. As of today, these restrictions no longer exist. Many restrictions that used to be in place at sea due to the grave threat posed by the LTT's sea tiger wing have also been removed. Limitations on the times and the locations in which fishermen could put to sea, as well as the restriction on the size of their fishing crafts and the power of their outboard motors were removed in phases by October 2010. Restrictions on the times at which fishing could take place were gradually phased out between June 2009 and February 2010. Restrictions on fishing near critical harbors have also been greatly reduced. The reduction in the number of security barricades, roadblocks, and checkpoints in the north and east also significant. There were large numbers of such security measures in place during the course of the conflict, and immediately after, these were gradually withdrawn after the dawn of peace. In 2009, there were approximately 2,000 checkpoints, sentry points, and roadblocks in these two provinces. Today, there are hardly any. The presence of security forces personnel in the north has been greatly reduced, with 28 battalions being relocated to the east and south. The overall number of troops has been reduced by more than 21,000 since 2009. More importantly, security forces personnel have been relieved of all duties in terms of law enforcement, and the maintenance of law and order has been completely handed over to the police. While military camps will remain in strategic positions to uphold national security, the presence of military personnel will be unobtrusive. In this context, it is important to underscore that military camps exist in various locations throughout Sri Lanka. It is the duty of the government to ensure that there is adequate security for the entire nation, and it is only logical to place military camps in strategic locations. The establishment of camps in locations such as Mana, Palali, Elephant Pass, Punakari, Talladi Karenaga, and Mulathiv began in 1951. They were set up to enhance internal security and minimize the smuggling of persons, drugs, and materials between Sri Lanka and India, which was rampant at that time. When the LTT emerged as a significant military threat and intensified its attacks on military camps, successive governments extended the territories around the camps into high security zones. This enabled the military to exercise greater control in these areas, which would otherwise have been infiltrated by the LTT. With the defeat of the military arm of the LTT, these high security zones are no longer needed. They were dismantled in stages, and the land has been handed back to the civilians. The camps themselves will remain for purposes of national security, but remaining security restrictions that exist are limited to the Palali cantonment. However, even within the Palali cantonment, civilians have free access to the airport and the Kankasanture harbour. While it is true that there are still some civilian properties within the cantonment, it must be stressed that civilians have not occupied these properties for the last 20 to 25 years. The government has taken measures to pay compensation to the owners of these properties and to provide alternate lands to them. It should also be noted that lands that had been forcibly taken from the people and occupied by the LTT for many years have also been released to their legal owners. Perhaps the most significant undertaking in restoring normalcy in the north was the restoration of the democratic process. His Excellency, the President, was very keen to ensure that the people who had lived under the virtual dictatorship of the LTT for so many years should feel the full benefit of living in a democratic nation. As such, he was very keen to have elections in this province as soon as possible. Local authority elections were held for the Jaffna Municipality Council and the Vaunia Urban Council as early as August 2009. And the presidential election and general election followed not long after in 2010. These elections were the first in which people throughout the entire country could vote freely and without fear of LTT reprisal. Local authority elections held island-wide last year saw free and fair elections being throughout the north and east. The Tamil National Alliance emerged first in most electorates, but the main government party also came close in several of areas. The fact that political plurality has returned to these areas is clear from the results of these elections. The swift restoration of democracy and the right to vote has returned to the people their voice in governance. It is an incredibly significant achievement. The sustenance of national security in Sri Lanka depends on the inclusiveness of our democracy and the equality of all our citizens. In the past, there was a certain degree of mistrust between communities that led to certain unfortunate incidents. It is our duty as Sri Lankans to put this past behind us and build a bright future for our nation. In this regard, it is essential that there is no longer any suspicion of discrimination or unequal treatment that might encourage people to follow an undemocratic path and bring back the divisions of the past. The confidence the people have in their leaders and their confidence in the proper functioning of the electoral process is one aspect of this. Another very important aspect is the ability people have to build better future for themselves. That is why, as was described before, the government has focused so much attention on restoring the infrastructure and services needed to facilitate the return of economic life in these areas. It is also extremely important that all our citizens have equal access to the services provided by the state as well as state institutions. In this regard, I am particularly pleased to note that the actions taken by the government to increase the numbers of Tamil-speaking policemen have been extremely successful. 789 Tamil policemen have been recruited between 2000 and 2011. And they have been trained and posted to these police stations. In 2012 alone, a further 425 have been recruited. Training in Tamil language has also been provided to additional numbers of police personnel. 11 new police stations have also been established in the north. And all the people who live in that region now have equal access to the state's mechanisms for law and order. The renewed economic opportunities and freedoms that the people of the north now enjoy are vastly different from what they were when much of the provinces were under the LTT. Children are free to go to school and have the chance to improve their prospects in life. Employment opportunities for adults are increasing day by day. And a great deal of support has been given to those individuals who are interested in starting up businesses or finding other means of employment. North have been greatly benefited by the many initiatives taken to upgrade irrigation. Support has also been given to them through programs to provide seeds, fertilizer, and machinery. Fishermen have been benefited from the removal of restrictions and programs to help them obtain fishing crafts. As a result of these initiatives, the economy of the northern province is undergoing a significant revival. In this context, it is important to stress that all of the government's actions with regard to the north has been aimed restoring vibrancy to this long depressed region of Sri Lanka. Unlike in the past, the residents of the north have all their democratic rights and have equal and unrestricted access to the services offered by the state. While there are still a few pro-LTT elements among the residents of the north, as well as within certain ethnicity-based political parties, and while they may still try to destabilize the peace if given the opportunity, the fact is that the people of the north no longer have any reason to feel isolated or disfavored. All of the issues that the province and its residents suffered from have been resolved in a remarkably short period of time through the government's genuine efforts to expedite demining, reconstruction, and new developments in the towns and villages, to resettle the IDPs and rehabilitate the former LTT cadres. Democracy has returned to the region. The civil administration is fully functional, and the people have unrestricted opportunities to make better future for themselves. I have every confidence that they will make full use of these opportunities, and that it will not be long before the northern province is a flourishing and vibrant region of our nation. That is why I am certain that the path the government is presently on is the best way in which to ensure long-term peace, stability, and national security. Thank you.